Welcome to today's service. We will begin by chanting the Sutra Junirai, which is on page 27 in the orange books or on the screen. Keshu tennin shokugyo Amida sen ryozoku son Zai himi mehandra kok Muryo bushi shui ne Konjiki shinjo nyosen no Shamata gyo nyosobu Ryomoku jonyaku shorenge Koga chorai midason Menzen enjoy nyoman gat Iko yunyo sen ichigat Shonyo tengu kushira Koga chorai midason Kandon chodai kanchi uji Juju meu soi ho shogon Nobukuge do makuman Koga chorai midason Mubi muku kon shoujo Shutoku keu nyo koku Shosari yaku toku jisai Koga chorai midason Jipo myo mombo sashu Muryo shoba jo sandan Isho shujo gari kiji Koga chorai midason Kontai ho kenchi shoke Zengon shoujo meudaiza Ohiza jonyo sen no Koga chorai midason Jipo shorai shobushi Gengen jinzu
思安楽戦後尊厳職業古賀将来未来尊道無常無我と薬女水願伝よろ二種説法無名字古賀将来未来尊理尊無専無悪名薬無如になく道不十人死心教非尊古賀将来未来尊理尊無量法勉強無少種悪知識往生不大死亡来古賀将来未来尊河川非尊功徳寺修善無変如海水小逆前言小乗者平成修上小非公ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブ何にしくとく平等聖祭道本菩提心往生安公ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモアンダーブ、ナモアンダーブ、ナモアンダーブ、ナモアンダーブ。We will now sing the Gatha Living Gratefully, which is on the screen.
Let's all live in harmony, trying to live as one. All of us together, always living life with Buddha's love.
do the reading of the threefold refuge, which is on the screen. Difficult is it to receive a human form. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Betsuin. Namo Amida Betsuin. Namo Andab, Namo Andab, Namo Andab, Namo Andab. And now giving today's Dharma talk, Reverend Matt May. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Betsuin. Namo Amida Betsuin. Namo Andab, Namo Andab, Namo Andab, Namo. Good morning. How are we today? Who has power? Who doesn't have power? Actually, hopefully we have everybody has gotten power back. It's been a wild week. So I'm glad that you're all able to attend today. It has, as I'm sure you all know, also been a wild year. And this is, I guess, the first full month that we've been back inside of the temple. And so how many of you miss the Hondo, like coming into the Hondo, walking through the front door? How many wish you were there right now instead of in the auditorium? I'm going to try to change your mind just a little bit about that. We've given a lot of talk to the Hondo and to the main temple and Memorial Hall, but we haven't really, I think, given a lot of appreciation to this room itself. This is actually part of the original construction of the temple. Memorial Hall actually came later, so this is the beginning of the temple, and this place has a lot of history in it itself. And so I wanted to take a moment to just appreciate this specific room that we're in. Just given we spent 10 months outside of the temple, and it's our opportunity now to actually kind of be grateful for what we have received. So during the construction of the temple, this all happened kind of in around 1940 was when the plans were built for the temple, and the budget was $60,000 to build a temple and a gymnasium. So I don't know what that comes to in today's dollars, but it's probably a lot more now to build the same work. But so just behind this wall is, of course, the Hondo and the rest of the temple, but the people that were behind the construction of this temple had some very specific rules. And one of them was that it had to integrate aspects of Japanese like architecture. So you see the sort of the slope on the roof with the little animals on the edge of it. That's a nod to the Japanese culture of this. But also, it's a mid-century modern building. Essentially, it's brick. It's very modern for the era that it's in. And one of the other decisions that they made, even as they were raising money for this, was that this was going to be there's going to be an auditorium / gymnasium place. So there was going to be a place that people could engage in social and sporting activities. And this is fairly common for the era. So those of you that know the name YMCA, that stands for Young Men's Christian Association. So it was fairly common for other religions to have sort of gyms or athletic areas, and it's the same way with us. So this place was integral to this temple being essentially a home for the Japanese American community in the era that it was created in, and not just that, but that it was in an era where there was a great deal of segregation, and so this was very important, not just to have the religious facility, but for there to be a locus of activity for the Japanese American community here. And it was dedicated, as I'm sure many of us know, in October of 1941. 2 months later was the attack on Pearl Harbor, and by April, May of 1942, most of the religious leaders were off in Whidbey Island, and most of the rest of the Sangha were in Minidoka. And during that period of time, this place that was meant to be this social circle for the Japanese American community became a essentially for the U.S. Maritime Commission, and we kept their dishes. So if you've ever dined on the China here, that little anchor that came from us keeping the dishes that they left behind. But for 4 years, this was actually a barracks for merchant marines and trainees, and the offices around the Hondo were used for shipbuilding officers in the military, and that was partly a way to just keep the place going. But there was an enormous amount of effort of individual members helping to build this temple. There are stories within Mukashi, which I strongly recommend for anybody that wants to learn the history of the temple. That where people were, it was still kind of part of, it is still in a Depression era. There were people that were donating cases of nails just so that they could keep the construction going through this period of time. And it wasn't really until 1948 that the temple was actually rededicated to being a Buddhist temple. So this is the history of this place. The fact that it's still here and still available to us some 80 years later is, I think, really remarkable. And I think the idea of there being a religious space and a social space together, and below here there's a whole nother story of, like, there was a tea room and there was an ikebana room, and all of the areas downstairs were also meant to support the community and the activities that people were engaged in. But I think about this place and I think about that wall. And I think about these two things that we have to balance in our lives. We have our everyday life, right? The things that we struggle with, the things that how we're getting along with everybody else. And then we have this religious aspect, right? We kind of have nirvana over here. We have a literal picture of what the Pure Land is supposed to look like, is what the Naijin is supposed to look like in the temple. And then we have a basketball court. I think it's really an interesting comparison or contrast that we can think about when we think about this place, which it's had talent shows and basketball leagues and New Year's luncheons and all of these things over the years, and we're lucky that we get to have this part of it back as we're building back to this other place. But also you have this. It's a little chaotic, right? Even looking down at the floor, you can kind of see different eras of what was going on here. Like there are basketball lines. I think there's a volleyball line in here. And then what do we see now? Pickleball, right? These this is a reminder to us of one of the core tenets of Buddhism. Everything that is worldly, everything that is conditioned changes. What this place was intended for wasn't even what it was used for 2 years later. And what we are doing with it now, just for us to maintain a community that keeps the temple going, has changed. And so as I'm going to fast forward to when we do the Dharma exchange later so that you can all think about this. For a place that's been around for 80 years, what are the things that we need in here to keep it going for another 80? Because this is like the motor that keeps the Buddhism going. Like without there being a place for the community to gather, it makes it that much harder for the temple itself to survive. So for that, and despite of the terrible echo that happens when I give a talk in here, I would like to show some gratitude to this auditorium/gymnasium for existing and getting us through this time. So with that, please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandav, Namandav, Namandav. Okay, are there any announcements? Okay, with that, I think that concludes the online portion of our service. Thank you for joining us today.